Hey guys, I'm back with another guide, and in this one we are taking a look at Heartseeker Rogue. This is the build that I promised I will be playing for the Season 12 start with the Rogue class. And yeah, there have been some complications in the beginning. We had a major bug in the season with the Sea Rune, so the one that summons this Spirit Wolves that you can see right now in this gameplay video. And yeah, the Sea Rune and the Wolves are very important for Heartseeker Rogue, especially since these Wolves can mark enemies. So you will deal your AoE damage with the Heartseeker to multiple enemies at once, and this only works with this summoned Spirit Wolves mechanic with the Sea Rune. And since it was bugged, this build was not recommended to play. I also wrote that in the comment in my last video, but now the bug is fixed since 20 hours or something. And yeah, Heartseeker Rogue is playable again, but as you already can see here, right now I'm doing a pit 75, and this is not considered a very high pit tier, so I guess most of you guys also are playing the Paladin class right now, just because Paladin is by far the most powerful class. And yeah, it seems like other classes, or also Rogue especially, cannot hold on with this powerhouse of the Paladin, for example. I still don't have the best gear whatsoever. I, in fact, did not even masterwork most of my gear. The opposite crisis, how I like to call it this season, is kind of huge for me. So I'm running very low on opticides, and since I was also playing another build at the beginning with Dance of Knives, I just don't have enough opticide to craft my gear. So there's still room for improvement. I expect, thanks to also theory crafting, I expected this build to be able to speedrun pit 85s in the end game. So yeah, I'm not sure if this will be the case. Maybe it will be like pit 80 to 85. But yeah, with some better gear, there's also some room for improvement. But yeah, what can I say? This is like an off-meta build. This is more like a niche build right now. Yeah, it's just not powerful enough compared to the Paladin or something. So if you guys find this build weak, I can understand this. But this is the reality for many builds and also Rogue builds right now. But the idea why I also wanted to play this build is especially because of the reworked Godslayer crown. So this is in fact something that you can see very clearly in this gameplay here. So we pull in enemies together all the time. And this is because of Godslayer. This unit got reworked, and now we just have to cast and shoot our Heartseekers, and enemies will automatically be pulled in to you. In the beginning I thought that this would happen not in front, like not direct at the character, but more like in the distance, just like Godslayer Crown used to work before, but it seems like this pull-in effect will happen towards your character, so you will be in close range combat all the time. This is a little bit unfortunate in my opinion, since Heartseeker is marksman skill, and you usually would like to kill enemies from a distance, but also this build is played like a close combat build. That's unfortunate, but the Godslayer mechanic works how it should, everything is pulled in, and that was the major reason why I wanted to play this build. So before we continue with this guide, I can also show you a boss fight for boss damage. So here, this is an equivalent of a T4 boss. So we are in Torment Tier 3, but we have this Bloodied layer, so this boss has plus 15 level. So this should be equal to Torment Tier 4 boss, and as you can see here, also with my gear right now, that I will show you in a second, it's quite fast to kill such a boss. The story looks completely different on Torment Tier 5 though, so with the Bloodied Sigils, we can also go up to Torment Tier 5, and there it's just not enough damage to kill the boss very effectively, or to just kill it at all basically. So yeah, it's not the most powerful broken build whatsoever. I don't want to get this wrong. And Torment Tier 3 with Bloodied layers is no problem, so you can farm all Tier 4 content, but Tier 5 content can be difficult. And now let's jump into the build. So for everyone who wants to play something like that, so more like off meta, not the most broken S tier builds and Paladin, I think I can still recommend this build just because it is fun to play, but you just have to lower your expectations and yeah, know what you can expect from that. By the way, guys, my channel is also very close to 10k subs, so before we continue with this guide, it would be very nice if you could leave me a subscription if you enjoy raw content. I will also do a lot of raw content in the future, especially after the D4 expansion, and this goal of 10k subs would be really great to achieve this year and the next months. Okay, thank you for that, and now I would say I can quickly go over my gear. So here, this is the Godslayer crown that got reworked that I was just talking about. But first, I will go over all of my gear quickly so you get a rough idea. And yeah, then we can take a look at the key gear, key uniques, and all of that stuff that is required to play this build. So by the way, as you saw here, my weapons are masterworked. Also, I tried to masterwork my gloves here, but anything else is basically not. Okay, maybe also this amulet here, but you can see here, for example, I don't even have fully masterworked my weapons, so I only brought it to 25 quality, but I don't even have a bonus GA from masterworking just because I'm so broke with optosites, so this season is really hard for me to get some optosites. So yeah, a lot of room for improvement for the gear and masterwork especially, but let's just start with the requirements. So what you need in order to play this build is a Shard of Verathiel. This is a very important key unique in this build, and also highly recommended Paingorger's Gauntlets. So Paingorger's Gauntlets is your key source for AoE damage, because without that you would just be able to deal single target damage. Here you can see, by the way, I can also show you some damage numbers. Bosses get some damage if you are able to stagger them, but since some bosses, especially Belial or also the Butcher, they are not as easy to stagger, then the damage will be lower. But here you can see we are hitting for multiple billions, not very high, but still billions, just for the case you wanted to know also some damage numbers. And now what I wanted to show you, so the AoE damage is only coming from this source here, the Paingorger's Gauntlet. And as you can see here, the wolves attack the enemies, and after attacking they also mark them. You can see there's a yellow bubble highlighted above the enemy health bar. And once they are highlighted, you can also trigger this by casting any other skill, like Smoke Grenade or Caltrops. Also your ultimate Shadow Clone will also trigger this. And then you spread the damage to all marked enemies. So for that reason, these gloves are very important for AoE damage. And Shard of Verathiel also enables this build by increasing massively your damage, but also making it that your basic attacks consume resource, and that way you also benefit from some other key synergies, especially Preparation, which makes your Shadow Clone cooldown reset quite often after spending resources. So Shard of Verathiel and Paingorger's Gauntlet are very important key uniques. I would not recommend playing this build without those. And of course, Godslayer Crown. From this season, it got reworked, so now it all the time pulls enemies together. You just have to crowd control them, and Heartseeker is freezing enemies all the time, so that's very easy in this build. And yeah, also highly recommended to play. There are also other variants with the Hair of Perdition. This is more damage, but you will miss on the pull-in effect. And so that way I actually recommend playing with Godslayer Crown instead of this Mythic Unique, and this is also easier to gear up for this character. So in fact, the only Mythic Unique I'm wearing is Shroud of False Death. This is the best chestplate in the game for basically all builds, so nothing special to mention here. But you could also play with a Ring of Starless Skies if you like, but it's not really mandatory for this build. So it's not increasing your damage in a very significant way, and you also don't need the resource cost reduction. So yeah, only Shroud of False Death is enough for this build. And yeah, the rest of the uniques, I think we only have one left, Penitent Greaves. This is just another damage multiplier on your boot slot, so nothing crazy, you don't really need this. You can also play without these boots. And yeah, Besides that, we just have legendary gear, and we just put in all the aspects that we need. So I can also mention another important thing. In order to make this work, we are also playing with the Quacks rune. So we have Aho Quacks. This will trigger Quacks quite often. You can see the symbol here. Every time when it becomes full, it means that we are spending our entire resources to deal 100% more damage. So we are doubling our damage every few seconds this way. And you can see here, even though we are spending our entire resource pool quite often here, we are able to sustain quite immediately back. And in order to make this work, you need some things. Usually you would like to have a lucky hit chance to restore primary resource on your two-hander. In this case, I don't have it on my two-hander, and I'm kind of broke with gold right now, so I don't want to gamble too much. But usually the best way to achieve this resource generation is to get this lucky hit chance for primary resource affix on your two-hander and on your one-hander. But the way how I solve this, because I don't have it on my two-hander, I just put it on my ring. I think, yeah, here you can see I have tempered a lucky hit chance also to restore primary resource. And this way I have two sources, one on the sword, one on the ring, and this is also enough to sustain for me right now. On the other ring I have Shadow Clone cooldown. This is also very important temper. And here you can go for some damage type. I just went for close damage because I was experimenting with another key passive. So, but yeah, it's not important. Just wanted to mention that you want this lucky hit chance primary resource restore on one of your rings. That should be usually enough. And if you have it on your two-hander, maybe you don't even need one here. But it also depends if you have Shroud of False Death, because this one improves your resource generation. And yeah, you just need to know how to fix your resource generation if you have problems with that. And this is like the best workaround that worked for me. But yeah, besides that, nothing too crazy on the gear. You of course temper your chance for Heartseeker to deal double damage. You temper your chance for Shadow Clone to deal double damage. But nothing too crazy else on the gear. For the Bloodied Items and Bloodied affixes, on the weapons you want to go for Berserking. So here I have it on my sword. From my experience, this is usually enough. But of course you can also get it on your two-hander. Just keep in mind, this will only give you the bonus once. So if you have it on your two-hander and one-hander, it will not add up those numbers together. At least this is my what I know so far, how it works. And yeah, for that reason, it's enough to have it on one piece of gear. Here I have reset 3 random cooldowns after 40 kills. Also helps you with getting back your dash, so mobility skills and ultimate. So yeah, nothing too much, like you don't have to care too much about those affixes, but at least get this berserking affix on one of your weapons. And on your other armor, you usually go for attack speed and critical strike chance. So here I have triple critical strike chance, so I'm hitting the maximum amount pretty fast here, but that's not optimal. Usually you should go for attack speed also on one piece at least, just to get a little bit more attack speed, and this makes things easier to hit your breakpoints with Heartseeker. But as you can see here, we are still attacking pretty fast. So especially if you are playing with a bow, which I can also highly recommend to play a bow with instead of a crossbow, you will also be pretty fast. But yeah. Yeah, I think that's actually all about the gear. If you have a Hair of Perdition, you can swap that for Godslayer if you're doing bossing, for example, if you're farming the bloodied boss sigils. But yeah, that's basically it. For the rotation, it's pretty easy. You just want to make sure your Shadow Clone is active all the time. I like to combine this with drinking a health potion, so I just press both buttons at the same time, the ultimate button and my health potion, because we also get damage bonus for drinking health potion with unstable elixirs. So this is something I do every 10 seconds. I just cast my ultimate skill and drink a health potion at the same time. Then you have smoke grenade and caltrops. You can use this on elites or bosses to just deal more damage. but you don't have to. You can also skip this part if you're too lazy. And then you just have 2 mobility skills with dash and shadow step, and you just move around the map quicker. But yeah, that's basically all. Just hold down your Heartseeker. This is basically a 1-button build, and you're just pushing the, you're activating your ultimate from time to time and some mobility skills. But yeah, that's all. So we can quickly go over the skill tree, but as usual, I can recommend you to visit my Mobilitics page, and there you will find a full guide for this build. Here, just give you a quick overview. I'm still missing 1 skill point, so here I have 4 out of 5. This is because the seasonal quest bug, or the seasonal quest is still buggy for me. I need to create another character to fix it. Then I will get another skill point. And here I'm playing with close quarters combat. Yeah, this is, by the way, the reason why I temper damage to close enemies on my amulet. And here I think that the keynote is actually buggy, because usually this should give me less damage, but here it says that I already have the maximum damage bonus of 90%, and this is only achieved by this damage to close enemies temper on my amulet. So yeah, I'm not sure if this is a tooltip bug only, but it seems that it works and it gives me the full damage increase. So for that reason, I decided to go with close quarters combat instead of victimize. You can also play with victimize. This is a little bit less damage than close quarters combat, but with close quarters combat, you have to also activate your shadow step or dash from time to time. This is something you want to do usually as well. So you want to do this anyways, but maybe some of you are very puristic and don't want to spam all those skills. Then you can go with victimize instead. But for now, I'm playing with close quarters combat, and this just gives me a little bit more damage. And the last part with the Paragon. So here we have control glyph in the starting board. We are playing with Eldritch Bounty and Kenny. Then we have Exploit Weakness with Fluidity. Then Cheap Shot with Headhunter. And No Witness with Devious. I prefer Exploit Weakness because it also gives us some more damage reduction. But there are some boards with more damage, so if you want to freestyle, you can maybe replace this board. But I really enjoy the 20% damage reduction from this keynote here. Yeah, I think that's all. Maybe Mercenary, really quick. I'm playing with Subo just because I want to have his passive effect of revealing the map, so I can see where the enemies are. Especially in the season of kill streaks, this is quite important. And I have right here with Bastion for some saving situations where I'm dropping my health pool too much. But yeah, I think that's all. So again, this is more like an off-meta build. It's not as powerful as Paladin. Also, Rogue has some better builds with Death Trap especially. I think Death Trap is the best Rogue build in the season. But if you enjoy Heartseeker and you enjoy the new Godslayer mechanic, I think this build can be a lot of fun. So yeah, maybe especially for your second character or something after the Paladin, I think I can still recommend this build in the season. Okay guys, that's it for this guide. Thanks for watching, thanks for liking and subscribing, and I see you in the next one. Have a nice day, and bye bye.